Well, we just heard President-elect Obama and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi commenting on the economy and Obama's proposed stimulus plan. The plan would spend hundreds of billions of dollars on tax breaks for middle-income workers and businesses. But will it work? Let's ask Pat Toomey, president of the Club for Growth, also Faiz Shakir from the Center for American Progress, and today's guest contributor, Michael Cugino. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Faiz, let me start with you. We've got to start somewhere in this economy, in this recovery. And it seems like the most important factor is stopping businesses from laying off more workers, which is one reason I was excited to see this story this morning. Won't this go a long way towards that? Keeping people employed?
I think that's the purpose of this tax package, is to reassure businesses that there's something in this for them. And for those on the left, it reassures them that the public investment and the aid to states for shovel-ready projects and infrastructure development is still there as well. So he hasn't, in fact, the pot is growing. We've got about an $800 billion stimulus package right now, and I think that's the right approach, to go larger rather than smaller.
Pat, as much sense as it makes to spend money on infrastructure, you're hiring people in construction, you're buying some supplies, but if you cut corporate taxes, you're keeping a broader base of people employed, aren't you?
Well, that's absolutely right, and we should keep in mind just last year we passed the biggest transportation funding bill in the history of the country, record amount of spending, record number of projects. So I'm pretty skeptical about whether the next new round of this massive new hundreds of billions of dollars of additional so-called infrastructure spending is really going to be spent wisely. I rather doubt it. If you took instead the opportunity to lower tax rates across the board, you'd be creating incentives for all businesses to thrive, individuals to thrive, and you'd have more production and more output across the economy.
So, Faiz, let me come back to you. Take
Sure.
Pat Toomey's point. It seems to me the most efficient and effective tax plan here would be to slash the business tax rate. And I want to say for large and small companies, right? 35% is the top corporate rate. 35% is the top individual rate, Faiz, that small companies pay. Why not just slash them to 20% across the board? Permanent
Larry,
tax cuts.
as you know, we've got the second highest corporate tax rate in the world. We've put ourselves at a systematic competitive disadvantage to the rest of the world. It makes no sense, and I agree completely.
I want to get my liberal friend Faiz to weigh in on this, because I'm thrilled to hear the phrase tax cuts, Faiz.
Yeah,
it really is wonderful New Year's gift in our first day back. But it depends. We need efficient marginal tax rate cuts, don't we?
Well, I'm kind of skeptical about the tax cuts, actually. I'm not sure that they have the stimulative effect that we need. If people are going to just pocket the tax breaks and not spend it and not drive consumer spending, then we've not accomplished the purpose here. And I think, you know, to my guest's point here about the second largest corporate tax rate in the world, the effective tax rate is far, far lower. I don't think the problem here is that the corporate tax rates are too high. That's not what's stopping business investment.
Really?
I think we need public investment into infrastructure spending that will ensure that there is job creation, because right now the private market isn't doing that job because it just doesn't have the funds to do so.
Pat Toomey, is Faiz right, though? I mean, all these studies from the IMF and the OECD and the National Bureau of Research, they're all wrong. Actually, our corporate taxes are really quite low. Is Faiz right about that?
No, I don't think so. I think the marginal rate is still quite high. And in fact, when we've seen other countries, Ireland's a great example of a dramatic reduction in the top corporate rate, the economy has taken off. And I think, frankly, a lot of the tax cuts we're hearing about in this package are actually not terribly stimulative to economic growth, because they don't change incentives. That's what we should be shooting for.
Right, they are
Incentive-based
for
changes.
lower and middle income workers, the EITC, Earned Income Tax Credit, and the Make Workers Pay.
But Faiz, didn't you end your last point by saying that we have to create jobs in the public sector because the private sector isn't doing it?
No, I think that the public sector investments that we're trying to make would go towards private sector corporations. So the infrastructure spending goes to construction companies, cement companies, steel companies. Those are the companies that will actually use the funds.
Wouldn't the private sector make investments if their taxes were lower?
Well, they could make the investments if the funds were given to them. I mean, there's all these shovel-ready projects that are out there right now that are being halted because the states don't have the funds to fund them.
Should we let Michael get a word in edgewise here? Michael, you want to get in on this conversation?
And Cugino, let me ask you, since Melissa's bringing you back in, good to see you, buddy. You're very patient this morning. We appreciate it, as always.
No, we don't like patience. What are you talking about?
Yeah, patience is okay. It's early in the year. But, Mike Cugino, in the paper, in the Journal story this morning, they are talking about net operating loss, carry back and carry forward. Yeah. Now, that is a stimulant. They're also talking about
especially for small business owners.
Yes, big expensing, big cash expensing. Now, Cugino, those are pro-stock market, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I think that the real issue here is that the devil's in the details. I mean, some of the things in this package or the trial balloons are good. I think the cut in payroll taxes potentially could be stimulative. Refundable credits, rebates, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. I don't think it changes behavior, and I don't think it gets you back to the animal instincts that we need to get going in the private sector. So while some of it's good, some of it I question. And I think what we need to do is cut the marginal rates across the board. Corporations, individuals, I would cut capital gains and get the animal spirits back.
But at least it's good we're talking tax cuts.
Yeah,
See, that's my point. Talking tax cuts gives that, it gives me a wonderful feeling. It sends a chill up my spine.
Well, Larry, that's actually
we won't have $1 trillion of government spending. Faiz, you want it all, right? You want $1 trillion of government spending. Let's just have a Soviet-style stimulus package, right, Faiz?
Sure, universal health care would be a great move. But here, Larry, this is the point, that President Obama and his very intelligent and smart economics team has come together with a proposal that I think has some political benefits here, and I think one of them is to appeal to people like Larry Kudlow. So, Larry, are you on board with Obama?
I'm excited. Listen, I am the phrase tax cut got me so excited this morning.
There you go.
I can't begin to tell you. Now
Larry,
we have to
let's
do
remember,
is
all tax
we have to
cuts are
let
good,
Pat
but they're
Toomey
not all
sit
created
down
equal.
and write up the right kind of marginal tax cut, right, Pat? That's what we need here.
I think we have to pay some bills also and go to a commercial break. But we're all very excited.
The good news here for Larry,
We get a net operating
Larry, the honeymoon's still on.